And with a click of a mouse, he made his boring spreadsheet look like it comes straight out of Disney's Frozen 2. Look at that. In this video, I'll show you a step-by-step guide as to exactly how you can achieve this theme yourself, and you can apply this technique to any theme you like. And if you want a shortcut part of this process, you can download some of the theme files by clicking the link in the description. There's four main aspects to this theme. The first is the colour scheme. Secondly is the font. Then there's the actual design, which gives this sort of neat look to the charts, for example. And then there's also the background picture. So I'm going to talk you through how you prepare all four of those. But also, I'll then, as a bonus at the end, show you how you can link the entire thing to these buttons so that you can just swap from one to the other like that. Okay, choosing the colour scheme. If you look on the page layout bar, you'll see there's a colours button. If you click on there, and you can already see I've got a custom Frozen 2 one there. But if we go to customise colours at the bottom, and what we need to do is put in all of our colours down here. Now you can see we've actually got 6 accent colours, so we're going to need 6 main colours that we want to pick from. So where are we going to get these colours from? Well, what we need to do is do what I did in fact, Disney Frozen 2 colour palette image search in Google. Because all we're doing is taking the colours, we're not taking any copyright images or anything. And I actually picked this one here, but you could pick anything you like as long as it's got 6 colours. I would avoid potentially something like where the colours are too similar, for example, or too repeating. You need some fairly distinctive colours. If you pick something like this one, for example, I know there's only 5 anyway, but you'll end up with, these are very similar to each other. So you want something that's got a bit more contrast, which is why I picked this one. Anyway, you right click on it, copy the image, and then you need to go into PowerPoint, is always a good one. So I'll click a brand new PowerPoint, change the layout to blank, that's non-essential, and paste that image in. And then what I'm going to do is insert a shape, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. And then I'm going to colour that shape with the first of the colours. Actually, if I make that shape a bit smaller, and then another one, but this time colour it with the next one, and basically do this till I've got all six colours that I want. Okay, so I've got my colours. Now, what I'm going to need to do is click on them one at a time and go to more fill colours and note what the red, green and blue codes are, because that's what I'm going to need to set up these colours back in Excel. So back in Excel on my colours, so accent 1, click on more colours, and here you go. Now I need to replicate that exact colour that I've got here. So 167, 66, 162. 167, 66, 162. You see it comes up, hit OK. Accent 2. More colours. Right. So I cancel that. Now, the best way I found of creating these themes to get some contrast into the system is to go from one contrasting colour to another, because things like charts, for example, in Excel will default to the first 2 colours. So you want some level of contrast there. So if we go from that to this one, for example, rather than that to that, we'll get more contrast on our kind of default charts, pivot tables, things like that. So if we move sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, we'd be in a much better position. So looking at that, again, shape fill, more fill colours, we get the RGB, 73, 194, 249. 73, 194, 249, was it? Yeah, looks like it. Okay. Right. So I'm going to go through changing all these colours, and then I'll come back to you show how you get the rest of them. Right, so I've picked the 6 main colours from the theme now. So now what I want to do is create my darker backgrounds and hyperlinks, etc. Now there's a little trick that you can do here, because what you can do is actually save this theme as a temporary theme. So if we do this, click temp and save it, and then we've now applied that theme. If we now go back to colors and customize, what you'll see is because we've applied this theme, we now have access to all these colors and different shades of them. So for example, we can make our background now say a very dark version of the blue, perhaps, which is that, and then the light we can have as a very light version of the blue, or maybe even lighter still, perhaps something like that. Okay. For hyperlinks, we might want to again stick with like a fairly dark blue. Like, don't like the way that's not showing up very well on there, so yeah, we'll lighten it slightly. So yeah, I think that all looks pretty good. So I'm going to call it Frozen 2 and we'll call it V2 just so that you can see what's going on. Okay, so another thing we want to do is get a default font for this theme. Now, I've been searching around the internet a bit and I've managed to find this font here, which is called Frozito. Now, this is a personal use only font, so you're going to have to get this yourself. I'm going to use it for my theme, and you literally can click on the download button on this web page. And by the way, this website address I put in the description. You can open up this file and you can extract it. So it's a zip file. Sorry, extract here. And basically you got Frozito, and all you need to do is once you've unzipped it, right click on it and click either install or install for all users. Now the only difference, install will be just your login in Windows. Install for all users will give it access to everybody. So you can click on install. I'm going to hit replace because I've already got it. Okay, so once you've installed your font, you now need to add it to the theme. So you go to the page layout part of the ribbon, click on fonts, go to customize fonts, and what we need to do is pick for our heading font Frozito, the one we just installed. And for the body font, you need to keep it as Calibri or whatever the standard Office font was. And the reason for that is if you start changing that around too much, you'll find things start expanding and moving around, which you don't really want. You just want things to look different when you switch this font on, rather than graphs and charts to start widening and things like that. So that's a little tip there. We'll give it the name that you want. So I'm going to give it a Frozen 2 name as well, and save that. Next thing we want to do is add in our effects to the theme. Now this is a really simple thing to do. All you do, page layout, go to effects, and the one I picked was milk glass because I thought it looked a bit like columns of ice. Now you've basically created the basis of your theme. So what you now need to do is click on themes and you need to save it as a theme. So I'm going to give this another Frozen 2 name, again version 2, and save it. Okay, so this will now allow me to pick these different themes. Now all that remains to be done is add the background picture. So putting a background picture into Excel is relatively straightforward. You literally, on the page layout, you click on background, you select from the file and you put it in. Okay, now there are quite a lot of subtleties around doing this, because if you get a background picture that is the wrong size, it can look pretty awful if there's too much going on, if it's the wrong color. So these are my tips on finding the ideal background picture to go with your Frozen 2 theme. Tip 1 find your screen size. If you open a brand new sheet and you widen the column as far as you can widen it until you hit the edge of the screen, and then you record the number of pixels, which in that case is 1789. Okay, you then widen the next one to the edge of the screen, and you capture how wide that is. And so you can do that by clicking up here, and you can see that's 83. So we know we have 1789 plus 83, 1872. You then do exactly the same thing for the height, which I've done, and I've recorded that. So I need an image that is going to encompass 1872 by 767 if I want it to fill the whole screen. Otherwise it's going to be repeating and you'll get like borders and lines appearing on screen. Okay, once I've got the size of my visible screen area, I'm now going to set up a PowerPoint slide that is of that dimension or slightly larger than that dimension. Set up a new blank presentation. Call it blank again, sorry, layout blank. And then I'm going to click on the design and slide size and click custom size. Now it's asking me in centimeters, or it might be in inches or something, but you can actually type in pixels. So back here I had 1872, so I'm going to round that up to 1900. Okay, so I'm going to put in 1900, then a space and px, and that will give me the actual amount of pixels I need. Then in the height, 767, I'll round that up to 800, I think. So I'll put 800 px and click OK. And it doesn't matter which one you pick because you're on a blank sheet. So you now have the exact right canvas size for your image. So I then go to the internet and do an image search. Now, if you want the exact Frozen theme, you can search for it and you can find this wallpaper, and I'll give you a link to that on screen. But in the interest of copyright infringement, I'm going to use this public domain ice background for demonstration purposes. So what I'm going to do is once you've got this one, you can copy the image and go back to your PowerPoint slide and paste it in, Control V. And then what I'm going to do is just expand it in the corners to try and fill the area. Okay, and then clicking on format, I'm going to need to crop it back. So if I go up to the top of this, and it should sort of click to, yeah, you can see you get guides and markers. You click anywhere off the screen and you get that. Okay, so this is my background image. I'm now going to go back to my Excel spreadsheet. Where are we here? Go back to the example theme. Now I'm going to copy a few of these things by clicking on them and highlighting them and just pasting them as pictures on here. So if you go to your design tab, you should be able to see your new theme as one of the custom themes. So it's probably this one here, Frozen 2. So I'll pick it, and then what you can do is click on your format picture and recolor, and now it's automatically giving you some color shade options. I mean, some are pretty awful, of ways you could color your background to match with the theme. So let's pick a color of, that's looking quite good, and then we can decide whether we want to darken it or lighten it. It's probably pretty good like that. Okay, so we can then take a copy of that slide and get rid of all of this, and then what we need to do is output that as a picture. So if we go to File, Save As, I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now, and on the Save As type we need to change that to say JPEG. So there we go, JPEG. Now I've already picked two, so I'm going to call this one Ice 2, Ice V2, and save it. And then ask you which slide, so you just say just the one. So we've got that. Now I go back to my Excel spreadsheet, click on background from file, and I'll import that sheet that I've just done. And so there's my background. And there's one final touch that I've put on my version of Excel that you might not have seen, you might not have on yours at the moment. I can make it look good. And that is that I've got everything around the edge looking white. And the way I've done that is I go into File and Options. And within here, within the general options, you'll see there's an office theme, and I've chosen white. Now by default it's colourable, so if I just stick it on, I get this obviously this green look around the edge, which I don't necessarily want. So I'll just go back to this and switch it on white. Now you might have different colours because different versions of Excel and Office have different colour options. So you might have blue, for example, or silver, but white is pretty good, goes well with this theme, and that's what I've done, and I've switched that on. That's it. The theme is now created. So as a bonus, next I'm going to show you how you can link this to buttons on your toolbar. The way we're going to link our new Frozen 2 theme to buttons on the toolbar is that we're going to record ourselves putting the theme in place as a macro, and then we can link that macro to the toolbar. We then also need another one where we record ourselves removing that theme and we link that. So this is how it's very, very simple. That's all we're going to do. But there are a few subtleties which I'll talk you through now. So first off, in order to revert the theme, we actually need to change the theme to our original Office theme here. And then actually, believe it or not, save that as a new theme, a new custom theme. Now I call it Revert. And the reason I have to do that is because if you record yourself putting the standard Office theme back on, no macro gets recorded. Nothing gets recorded. And so you need to be able to record yourself putting on a custom theme, or going in between standard and custom themes. So we need to record ourselves removing this theme. So we need to record a macro. And if we go to the Developer tab, and if you haven't got that, you should be able to click on there, more commands, and within Customize the ribbon, you'll see there's a Developer tab which you can tick on or off. So just cancel that. So record macro. Now, it doesn't really matter what you call it. I'm going to call it macro 9 for the moment. And so I'll go page layout, themes, click on revert, and delete background. Go back to developer, click stop. All right. Now record another macro. Leave that as macro 10. And this one would do the reverse. So page layout, themes, put a Frozen theme on, background, from file, I have Ice 2. There. And developer, stop. So then we need to have a look at this code, because there's one more subtlety that I'd like to show you. So this is the code that has been recorded, and obviously you'll have different file names and addresses on here, and same with your pictures, etc. So this is putting a picture on, and you can see that's because of the file name there, and here it's just equals nothing, saying no picture. If you can look at my original code, you can see there's a lot of extra lines. So my original Make Frozen. Now the reason for that is because I'm also switched off the status bar. I don't know if you noticed that. Now I'm just going to go back and show you what that does, because when I click on this Make Frozen, there's no status bar at the bottom. So there's no green strip at the bottom. And when I take it off, the green strip reapplies. So that's just a neat little touch, and the way you do that is it's this piece of code, application dot display status bar equals false, and then of course you can switch it back on in the undo version of the thing. The other thing is unnecessary code where all I did was change the text on the screen. So this theme equals office, I changed that from theme equals office to theme equals Frozen 2, and that was just for demonstration purposes. You don't need that. So if we take this code, so this is where we're going to apply the theme, revert the theme. So we're going to put that as we want to display the status bar. Here we're going to undisplay it false. Right, so now what I can do is show you how you link the buttons. So if I click on here and do more commands, and for a start I'm just going to remove these two here because those are the two that I put on earlier, and show you how you put on the new ones. So you go to popular commands, macros. This gives you the macros, right? So we know that macro 10, this is why it's probably worth giving it a better name, was to apply the theme. So we're going to add macro 10, and then we're going to click on modify, and we can pick this frozen sort of snowflake icon. Pick any icon you like. So that's making our theme. And then macro 9 we're also going to add, and this we modify that, and I'll just put the stop logo on that for the moment, and we'll OK it. And so now when we click on there, we get that theme, and that takes it back off, and it's as simple as that. So remember, you can download the theme files already done, and then just apply those macros at the end if you like. Click on the link in the description. All the websites I used are in there as well. And don't forget, of course, you can apply any theme you like using this method. Hope you enjoyed the video and got something from it. There's loads more tips and tricks on Up for Excel, so have a look around and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. See you soon.